Hello, this is Matti again. And as you can see, today's video is gonna be a little bit more involved than some of the earlier ones. I've set up this rig so we can kind of study how these two microphones differ and a little bit how to record an acoustic. I've thought about this video quite a lot and thought about how to achieve this recording or how to illustrate this stuff, and I came up with this setup. I've connected these two microphones to the mixer so that I can easily switch between them and do some stuff also before it hits the front end of the preamp of the audio interface. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but we'll see that it kind of is a big deal in this setting. The two microphones that I'm using today are, the silver one here is the TSM MT87s, if I remember correctly. It's a really cheap condenser microphone, large diaphragm mic, and I've been using it for quite a few years. I don't remember exactly, I think it can be over 10 years. And recently, and this other microphone is a more recent one, I acquired it. It's actually hand-built here in Oulu by this company called Timbretones. It's also a large diaphragm condenser microphone. It has this beautiful curly birch wooden casing. It's not crazy expensive, especially considering that it's handcrafted or handmade. Okay, so let's start perhaps, and I'll explain more as I go. And the first thing we're gonna do is use the TSM to mic up this Martin with the pretty classic setup. So I have about 30 centimeters from the microphone to the neck and to the 12th fret, and the microphone is kind of diagonally pointing to the soundboard, but not at the sound hole. The sound hole is facing this way, so I'm not getting a lot of the bassiness that comes from the sound hole. So now I shall activate the line, unmute the line so I can hit out some chords, and we'll see how it sounds like. Not too bad. Let's see. So currently I'm monitoring with my headphones. I'm not completely sure how these things will sound in the final mix, but we shall go on. I'll try to replicate the same exact position. It's not really that easy. It's a little bit complicated because of the differences between these two mics, but I'll do my best. So I shall now unmute the Timbretones microphone and do a little bit similar stuff. So as you can hear, it's pretty boomy. The frequency spectrum is much wider. I can see it easy on the screen. It's perhaps not visible on the secondary camera, but it's much more wider. I get more mids and highs from this microphone, but it's a little bit, let's say, unrefined. The bassiness of the Martin is kind of taken over. The microphone is so sensitive that it's kind of being overwhelmed by the power of this guitar. So one thing that you can do, which affects a lot in these kind of settings, is where you place the microphones. And this mic works really nicely when I'm doing like one microphone setup when I'm singing and playing at the same time. I set it a meter away from me, and so that it kind of points at my voice more, or I try to balance that it picks out a good blend of my voice and the guitar. So I'm gonna move just a little bit further away this microphone so we can get a little bit of that sound. So this should get rid of some of the bassiness, but it also brings out more of the room sound. I'll just unmute and let's try again. I also have to compensate with the levels because it's gonna be a little bit quieter. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so it's what I'm hearing, it's still kind of being a little bit overwhelmed by all of these bass frequencies. The big difference between these two microphones, I think I mentioned it, is that this TSM has a low cut thing, which I can turn on. And now it should get rid of some of those bass notes, bass frequencies. Let's give that a shot. Yeah, it does some of that, yes. Let's try something different. I will also add a low cut filter here in the mixer. So it doesn't have much effect because this is already engaged. So I'm just gonna cut the low frequencies even more by using the EQ on the mixer. 10 o'clock. should be fine. Let's try. So I'm seeing the peaks in the input getting lower. So because I cut a lot of those powerful bass frequencies, I'm not getting as much signal in, so I'm gonna just raise the level a tad. Here's a pretty interesting thing. I've been using this pretty thin pick at the moment, so I'm gonna switch to a little bit more heavy pick. Let's see how that affects the sound. So at least in the headphones I can hear it's I would say more strong in the mix. It's getting a little bit more plasticky, if that makes sense. So while strumming, I highly prefer something like this, a really thin pick. It can be even thinner, but that makes it a little bit harder to play. So much nicer. Okay, so we've been using this TSM. Let's try to do the same stuff with the Timbretones microphone. So for the moment I will just move this. Okay, actually let's not do that, because I can more easily compare these two microphones if I have them close by, like in the beginning of the video. So unmuting the Timbretones, and I assume that I have to lower the level also. So really boomy. Let's engage the low cut from the mixer. So a little bit better, but what if I further reduce the bass frequencies by using the EQ on the mixer? Let's put it like about 10 o'clock. Even further to the 9 o'clock position. Now I have to compensate by raising the level a tad. harsh. Maybe I'm clipping the front end of the mixer. Let's try to reduce the input gain and compensate with the level. Just out of interest, let's try to reduce a little bit of the mids too. And now comparing it to the TSM. So what if I hit really hard, like clipping, clipping, clipping. Let's try not to do that. Let's see how the Timbretones react. So it pays kind of to mind how you're playing. As you can hear, there's a huge difference between how I attack the guitar. So if I hit too hard, it's getting the sound more boxy. And perhaps I can highlight this a little bit more by doing just a little bit of fingerstyle. So. Just one final thing that I noticed when I was recording the last cover song, I was getting too little volume out of the guitar, so it kind of kept being drowned by my voice. So I kind of studied a little bit how I can make my guitar a little bit louder. So what I found out was that if you kind of push the strings instead of plucking with your thumb, you can get a much more powerful bass tone. Like this is without pushing, and this is with pushing. So without, with, affect the tone really a lot with this stuff. Picking closer to the bridge yields a more jangly tone, and picking closer to the neck gives a smoother, more bassy tone. But I guess that's it. I'm rather interested in hearing how this microphones sound in the mix, and I guess we'll find out together after I do the mix. So until then, nice seeing you again, and